Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Audible.com, a leading provider of spoken audio information and entertainment. Listen to audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. Visit audible.com/twist for your free audiobook. And by Turnstone, more than furniture, we're an experience. Go to myturnstone.com/twist to learn more and receive 10% off your first order. And Amazon Web Services. The fastest growing, hottest startups build their businesses on Amazon Web Services. Learn more at aws.amazon.com/startups.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis, and this is another exciting episode of This Week in Startups. Today we're going to learn about a new app that is really getting a lot of buzz. It's called Swell, and people refer to it as the Pandora of talk radio. I've been testing it for the last month, and I absolutely love it. It's a fantastic app. We're going to meet the founder and hear about why they built it and what's coming up. We're also going to do a Shark Tank episode. Two entrepreneurs are going to pitch me. There are two different ideas. I'm going to savage them for the greater good and your entertainment. We're all going to learn a little something. And then we'll do 3 Ask Jason questions. It's going to be an amazing episode where you're going to learn a lot about starting new companies and just how to be a great entrepreneur. Stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis. This is This Week in Startups, the show where we talk about starting companies, typically in the technology business, but not limited to that. And we talk about entrepreneurship, founding companies. Every week I do generally 2 episodes. On Friday we do a news roundtable at 1 p.m. Pacific. And on Tuesdays I interview a great entrepreneur and then maybe do some Ask Jason questions where people ask me questions about entrepreneurship, very specific ones that they might be struggling with, in fact. And so we're going to have a great program today when we talk to Ramkumar, who is the founder of Swell, which is the app I was telling you about in the beginning of the program, which is essentially Pandora for talk radio. It's a fantastic app. I'm going to demo it for you today and talk to the founder. A couple of pieces of housekeeping. Number one, the Launch Mobile Wearables event, which I'm hosting with my team, is on September 30th and October 1st in San Francisco. And it's an elite style event. It's not cheap to come to. It's $5,000, pretty expensive. But this is like for CEOs and founders. We have some scholarships available to people who are startup companies. Go to mobile.launch.co, and you can check out the amazing list of speakers. Just everybody in the industry is going to be there, top 200 people or so. And we're going to talk about mobile and wearables. Second, This Week in Startups is going on the road, and you can reserve your tickets on Eventbrite for only $2. That's right. We just charge $2, so we make sure that there's some consistency in people coming. You can go to TWiST Live, TWiST Live.launch.co to see these different live shows we're doing. October 4th in San Francisco, I will be interviewing Steve Jurvetson. He's the guy who invested in Tesla and SpaceX. He's a rocket junkie, and he's a really great venture capitalist and human being. Really great guy. October 4th from Draper Fisher Jurvetson. And Alexis from Reddit, one of the top 20 sites in the United States, is going to be on the New York City edition on October 10th. Finally, on October 11th, we're going to hop up to Beantown, and Bill Warner, the famous angel investor and the guy who created the Avid video editing system, will be on the program. So really great guests. Great job, producer Gina and the rest of the team on getting Steve Jurvetson for October 4th, Alexis from Reddit for October 10th in New York, and Bill Warner in Boston on October 11th. I'm looking forward to all 3 of those interviews. So today on the program, Ramkumar is with us. Ram, are you there? Ram, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Great. So, hey, I have Swell right here on my phone. Hopefully we can pull it up for a second. And I'll just give people a brief overview of how I've been using it. And you tell me...
Thank you for inviting me, Jason.
Oh, of course. It's great to have you. When did the app launch, by the way?
Late June 27th, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. And how many downloads since you've put it in it's only in iOS right now, right?
That's right. So, it's still early days. It's growing. Our user base is slowly growing. We have strong engagement, passionate user base. We get a lot of feedback, and we've been using the feedback to iterate and improve.
Great. So how many downloads have you gotten since you launched it was the question? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? How many people downloaded it already?
So in between those orders of magnitude, it's not in the millions yet.
Not in the millions yet. So we'll say low hundreds of thousands probably. And why did you build this app? Tell us what was the motivation.
It's bringing a listener sensibility. It's wanting to listen to the best content without effort. Just hit play, listen to content that you most want to, bring it to your fingertips. It's about a pleasant, really easy user experience that, that lets you listen to the content and enjoy it, rather than browse, search, and find items to listen to.
So most apps in this space, podcasting apps, of course, This Week in Startups being a podcast, we are pretty well briefed on this subject, require you to search for a show. You took a different approach. You're analyzing what people listen to and then presenting their next request based upon what? Ram?
So we begin when you sign into the app. We use your profile on Twitter if you sign in with Twitter to understand your interests, to seed your interests. But then as you use the app, as you listen to content, it understands what you like based on what you choose to listen to. So the interface is simple. You can use it just by listening or swiping to skip to the next item. The time spent, it's really deeply about time spent, using time effectively. If you spend time listening to TED Talks or listening to This Week in Startups, then it understands that you like such content and brings you more of that. That's actually the guiding philosophy for us. Is we found ourselves as listeners. We have all the time when we're commuting, when we're exercising. That time is underutilized, and there isn't an app out there like Swell that brings content to you without the effort of download.
So let me give people a quick demo here. If you pull up my iPhone. So here it says StoryCorps 336. I guess that's episode 336. Why I'm here. NPR StoryCorps. I can flip ahead to the next story. And I had picked comedy before I started here. So there's two ways to do this. You can either go to topics and pick a topic. So I could start with technology or start with science, et cetera. Nice little mind map there. But if you pick a topic, it only shows you 3 videos. So I picked comedy. It's showing me 3 of those. But then we're back to You're the Expert. And I've been introduced to a number of interesting shows here. But if I spend more time on NPR or on politics, it's going to show me more politics. And if I quickly go past, world news, it's going to show me less world news. Is that correct, Ram?
Absolutely. It's learning. So the algorithm powering Swell is sophisticated. It's learning at the level of topics, at the level of programs you like, and also a collaborative filtering piece where it, based on what the Swell community likes, it brings you the best content.
Now, if I hit the thumbs up here in the top right-hand corner, which I just did, what happens? What is that telling you? And how is that utilized?
It's telling the service that you like that program, you like that topic, you like, so it goes into the algorithm as a signal that is then used to get you more of that.
Now, I can bookmark shows here. If I pull down on the title card there, it has bookmark, unbookmark. What does bookmarking do exactly? Because I notice you don't subscribe, right? I can't subscribe to This Week in Startups in here, but I can click a bookmark. What does that do?
It allows you to go back to it and listen to it later. If you don't have the time to listen to it right now and you want to go back and listen to it, you can. You can share content. That's really important. You can share it via Twitter, Facebook, email. Allows you to listen to it even if the recipient does not have Swell. They can listen to it on a browser. So it's all of the signals. How you use the app is how you train the service what you like, and
now
it's organic. It's just
So tell me about caching, because this is a key issue. Are you downloading and caching our MP3 files here, for example, at This Week in Startups, or because it seems like it's very fast. So I'm assuming that you're downloading our MP3 file and caching it. Is that correct? Yes or no?
It's cached on the client, and it is cached on the server only if required for technical reasons. So it's to preserve the user experience.
Right. So you're caching our content, which means we don't get correct statistics. So how will you address that? Because you didn't ask our permission.
So we're actually putting in a protocol. We're putting in a so one, we have a dashboard. We have a content provider. We have an ability to share with you the numbers in terms of how many users are listening to your show.
Is that dashboard public yet or no?
I'm sorry?
Is the dashboard public so I can go claim it as a podcaster or no? Did you?
That's right. It is available to you and you only. And moreover, we have a protocol where when the client, when a listener listens to This Week in Startups on Swell, we're going to introduce this in an upcoming version where we let your server know that there was a request from the client. So the count of statistics on your server are accurate, are indeed reflect listeners on Swell.
Yeah, I mean, this is inside baseball, but it is critical because I know that some other services like Stitcher, I guess, was downloading our MP3 file and then encoding it into 5 or 6 different files and then serving it, and then we only would count one download, which would be really problematic for us on an advertising basis. Are you dynamically serving different fidelity versions of each of our shows as well?
Right, absolutely. So on Wi-Fi, there's aggressive buffering, aggressive caching on Wi-Fi. On the carrier network, we are much more cautious. We use the data plan conservatively. We only cache to the extent required, and so the fidelity depends on that as well.
All right, when we get back from commercial break, what I want to talk to you about the relationship with artists, i.e. myself or other folks, because there were some people at NPR who are a little freaked out about how good this app is, and they're wondering like, hey, why aren't we doing this at NPR and public radio? And then there's guys like me who are like, hey, wait a second, are you building a business around my content? So I want to talk about that after the commercial break and how you plan on keeping artists like myself happy when we get back from this commercial break. Speaking of audio, Audible is back as a sponsor of This Week in Startups, and I couldn't be more pleased. I am in love with audiobooks, as you all know, and Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks. You can buy individual books or sign up for an Audible listener program, which give book credits each month. You can access from anywhere, computer, iPhone, Android, and iPad, over 150,000 titles in every genre, and you can automatically sync between audiobook and Kindle. You can read at home, listen in the car. It's always in sync. Get a 30-day free trial at audible.com/twist. That's right, audible.com/twist for a 30-day free trial. Get the book of the week, and thank everybody. Everybody go thank at audible_.com. Let me tell you what my choice is for book of the week. I actually downloaded 2 books this week. Native Son by Richard Wright, because I had heard, actually speaking of Swell, I'd heard on Swell, Kurt Anderson talking on his Studio 360 about Native Son. I had never read Native Son, so I went and bought it. So there's an interesting interaction between selves. Somebody was talking about a book. I went and got the book. And then I also got the Salinger book, which people are talking about Salinger. There's 5 more books coming out. There's a documentary coming out. So I was like, hey, I got to get caught up on this. And this really is how I use Audible, is I want to catch up on pop culture and be a well-read person, but I don't have the time to read all these books. And my eyes, frankly, are tired at the end of the day. So I have a platinum subscription. I've had it for 5 or 6 years. You can see I have 21 credits available. So I just buy whatever's available for Audible, and it works out really well for me. So my pick of the week, Salinger, Unabridged by David Shields and Shane Salarino. Great job, Audible. Thanks so much. Everybody go to audible.com/twist. Audible.com/twist. Okay, so when I left Ram, I was asking him the very hard-hitting question, which is, of course, about me. How are you going to keep me happy building a business around my content? Because you don't have a business without my content, without NPR's. What is the reaction been like, and how do you plan on keeping me happy and NPR happy?
So first off, when we launched with partnerships with NPR, APM, with ABC, and also recently we have a partnership with TED. We work closely with content providers. We work with you. We make you happy by bringing additional listeners, by bringing distribution, by matching listeners that are interested in technology startups, let's say with your show. So
you bring traffic, I get that, but I don't have a contract with you. What is the contract you have with TED? Are you paying? Are you paying them?
No, there is no. So it's a early stage of the business. As the business evolves, it may become deeper in terms of a business relationship. But there is.
So there's no signed contract between you and TED. You're saying you just have an agreement, a gentleman's agreement, if I would be correct.
No, there is a signed contract, but it's distribution listeners in return for content. So it's similar to the as you go to the effort of uploading content and putting that up on iTunes, your listeners are downloading the content from iTunes. Similarly, your listeners can find your content on Swell. We do not alter content. We do not take out any advertising. We do not.
So what is the agreement with?
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the agreement with TED and ABC and NPR that I don't have? What are you giving them? What do you have in terms of an agreement with them? How is it different than my
promotion?
off the shelf?
In fact, we are, as you know, Jason. We look for opportunities to promote your show, promote shows, promote content providers. So it's about promoting cross promotion. It's about getting your help promoting Swell on your show as well as promoting your show on Swell. And,
Got it. I see. So it's cross promotion deals is what you're looking to do today.
That's right.
Okay. So now you must have a business. Has anybody said no? I don't want my content on Swell yet?
No.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I mean, people are putting their stuff on iTunes, so they obviously want to get listeners. So then I guess the real issue for me is how will you make a business out of this? And then if you do make a business out of it, how will I get paid based on you getting paid?
So the way we would make a business is advertising and subscriptions. I mean, similar to other products in the space. And as far as, for you, it's additional listeners for the content you create. And so you can go to your advertisers and say, look, there's more listeners.
But you're going to make money by selling ads that will play in between audio files. Is that correct?
That's right. So, we actually haven't decided the specifics on where the advertising would go, but it would be a mix of that. Yep.
And so if you do have advertising, let's say you place an ad between my podcast and say Leo Laporte's This Week in Tech, and we're 90% of the content or 95% of the content between that ad, are you going to split revenue with us, or is that all your revenue? And how do you look at that?
It's a conversation down the line, Jason. I think your show is actually one of the, as we published on our blog, one of the top 10 shows on Swell. So we'd love to work with you. Make it a win-win partnership, something that with your help getting more listeners onto Swell and bringing new listeners.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the sustainable business model. For me, I very much love the fact that you're getting us more listeners. My concern as a podcaster, of course, is when you do start selling advertising, are you going to sell ads against my program, which I would be very concerned about. Like if you were going to market saying, I'll sell you the slot before before This Week in Startup starts, you're not intending on selling my individual program to advertisers.
We are not intending to do that. No.
I mean, if you did it, you'd sell the technology channel and having ads in between, right?
You got it. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, I think, the key balance that I'd like to see in these kind of apps is some type of collaboration. For example, when people look at this title card, let me pull up my app again here. The title card is critical. And I think we should have the ability as podcasters. Right now you have, can you pull up my iPhone? This is the stuff I was talking to you on Twitter about here. So see here when we have the app where it says, here's the thing. If you click on the title card, you can get some information around it, but then you have to click and then scroll to the bottom, and then you can get more info. What I would like is to have that here's the thing linkable up top. Maybe we can control a little bit more here, like if there is an @ symbol that links to Twitter, or maybe even on the front of the card, if we had the ability to put our image or something on it, just a little more control over the card. I kind of feel like the card is an opportunity for you to have shared space with us, the podcasters. I don't know how you feel about that.
Absolutely. In fact, we do have brand logo show up there. We'd love to work with you to get a brand logo on there, offer you some of that control. Absolutely.
Yeah. I see. There's a brand logo right there with this WITS. Where are you pulling that from? iTunes?
From your website, I believe. Yep.
Oh, okay. Because you could just pull the iTunes one too. Yep. If you're pulling our thing, that would be a quick, easy way to get in there. But yeah, I see BBC on the bottom left there. Yeah, you're starting to put some logos in there. And so tell us about distribution for this app. How do you plan on getting this out there to more people aside from, doing partnerships with TED?
The app has really fantastic word of mouth. There's been a lot of activity on Twitter, people sharing it, telling friends about it, sharing it on Facebook, sharing it via email. We do plan to add much more is coming in terms of a community. People want to interact with other listeners on Swell. We're going to be adding those features. We want people to become users and creators. Showcase their content, showcase their work on Swell. So we're really excited about working with content providers in partnership. It's not a zero-sum game. It's adding value to the ecosystem.
Well, I really like your approach. I think it's commendable. A lot of people who are working in the technology space, they look at the content providers as a commodity. And I think if you're building this platform, I think you're taking the right approach in partnering with the podcasters and reaching out to them early and often to get their support. The question of the hour, of course, is when does Android come? A lot of people I see on Twitter are begging you for an Android version. What's the ETA?
We're working on it. In the fall, we'll have a beta. I should mention our founding audio editor, Amy Machado, who was an award-winning producer at NPR and KQED, was a former colleague of your producer, Gina.
Yeah, I heard
just learned that this morning. Yeah.
So what is her job there? I mean, you have a curator, and you're not putting all podcasts into Swell. You're actually picking and choosing which podcasts go in, correct?
Yeah, they are being curated. They're being rated for initial quality. So, her job is quality of the listening experience on Swell. So it begins with the curation and then feeds into the algorithm. The algorithm decides what episode to serve you based on what your choices are, what the user's preferences are, but begins with the curation.
So if I'm a podcaster, I'm not automatically on Swell. I have to be whitelisted by your curator.
That's right. So, and we do have a broad set of content. We have nearly 5,000 podcasts on the service, over 200,000 individual episodes and tracks on the service. There is a broad variety of content, but whether that gets served early on in listening, that gets governed by the curator.
Well, I think it's fantastic that you're taking this approach. I found the experience is addicting. I have been using it, like basically I'll either do Audible, either pick Audible or Swell, depending on if I want news or I want to go deeper. And it's been a really, really great experience. So I commend you on a great 1.0 product. What's a feature coming up that you can highlight for us? Anything on the roadmap?
So we'll be adding content that's trending on Swell, what's hot, what a lot of listeners are listening to on Swell. You'll be able to look at that. We are going to improve the onboarding sequence, let you see the experience better. That's coming up in an upcoming version. So actually excited about talking about it at the conference.
You'll be at Launch Mobile showing some new stuff. Okay. Now, what about the landing pages? So when I tweet from within the app, you've made landing pages to wrap our content. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so, how much of the web experience do you think this is going to be? Like, are you getting a lot of listeners there, from people tweeting? Because I notice a lot of people are tweeting, like, I'm listening to this on Swell.
That's right. So, listeners can listen to the shared content on Swell. They can download the app. That's the web distribution via web is a dominant mechanism. It's something we're going to focus on as a way to spread the word, as a way for people to be aware of the product.
So just another note for you. I'm constantly giving you notes. I'm like your I'm your sand in the oyster. So here, when you do put these landing pages up, I implore you to link back to the content creator. You show your love through linking back. So for example, in these landing pages, you don't actually link back very well, like in the content. So just keep that in mind.
No, we do.
The headline does.
Click on the title.
Yeah. So just more linking like that.
Make that better.
Yeah. Every little bit helps, like make the image there linkable, but that's actually good. Yeah, you're making the headline linkable. So well done.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Ram.
We're
bringing a listener sensibility. The team's background, I should say the key members of the team, my co-founders, we created an app called SnapTel that Amazon acquired in 2009. So we're repeat entrepreneurs. So we're doing this really as listeners, as users of the product, wanting to create something that's really amazing. The company was incubated at Charles River Ventures a year and a few months ago. And, it's a really exciting journey for us, making something new and innovative. And
what a great list of investors. Charles River Ventures, obviously, my friend George Zachary over there. And then you have Andreessen Horowitz, Google Ventures, Interwest, and Draper Fisher Jurvetson. Just a great lineup of investors, $7.2 million raised. And hopefully you'll be starting a sales team soon and bringing in some money. I think when you guys start making some money and sharing that with podcasters, that's going to be your big moment. Podcasters need money. It's not cheap to do what we do.
Thank you. Our lead investor, Josh Stein, actually came in because he loved the product, and we, a lot of our traction in the recent days has been through the product, which we appreciate those.
Yeah, no, I learned about it playing poker with Josh Stein. He leaned over and said, "What do you think of this?" And I said, "Wow, that's awesome." So you owe a debt of gratitude to Josh over at Draper Fisher Jurvetson, who's going to be on the program this fall. All right, thanks, Ram, and we'll see you on October 1st at Launch Mobile and Wearables with some new announcements. Good luck, and everybody check out swellapp.com. And
Look forward to working with you, Jason. On the
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Looking forward to it. Send me a contract. Let's get something going here. Let's get some business development going. I don't know what the contract will say.
We'll do
But everybody go to swell.am. Swell.am on the web and at Swell app. And just search for Swell in the iTunes store, coming to Android shortly. Really a great product. And speaking of great products, let me take a moment, a pause for the cause, to tell you about my Turnstone. My goodness, I love my Turnstone. We've got the office filled with my Turnstone furniture here, and everybody loves it. Look at this gorgeous, here is a little, a desk setup with a couch in the middle of it. I love that. And then here is some more stuff going on here with these beautiful chairs. That's not our office, by the way, but we have similar stuff in our office. My Turnstone is gorgeous, affordable furniture. We use it. We love it. And go to myturnstone.com/twist to get your 10% off your first order. And this is only for you guys, our loyal Twist listeners. myturnstone.com/twist. And we have a contest going where you can win a free lunch with me. Hey, there you go. And a free buoy. You know, that cute little seat they have that keeps your core activated. All you have to do is send me a picture of you grinding away at your Turnstone desk to turnstone@launch.co. Yes, turnstone@launch.co. Enter to win a free lunch with me and one of those buoys. Thank you to my friends at My Turnstone. Go ahead and thank My Turnstone on Twitter. There's the buoy, super gorgeous. I'm getting a couple of those for the office. And you sit on it and you can change the height up and down and it activates your core. It's a fantastic, fantastic product line. I fully endorse it. It's not like that cheap stuff you have to put together yourself that breaks within 30 days. And it's not like those absurdly priced workstations where you bankrupt your company by spending $15,000 a workstation. I know people who have done it. Bad move. You will piss off your angel investors. If some company that I invest in buys the cheap stuff, I'm like, well, whatever. If they buy the really expensive stuff, I'm really pissed off because they're not putting it into product. But if they buy something like my Turnstone, which is value-oriented, I know it's not going to break, I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, it makes the 10 people at the startup feel great. They come to work. They got a beautiful desk. It inspires them. Very important to have an inspiring space for your team to work out of. Thanks, my Turnstone. Okay, so moving on. Let's do a Shark Tank here. Who's first up? Hey, what's your name?
How's it going?
Good. What's your name?
Dale Partridge.
Hey, Dale Partridge. And so you know the rules. You have 60 seconds to pitch me. 3, 2, go.
So I own a company called Sevenly.org. We're a for-profit social good company in the same genre as maybe a Tom Shoes or Warby Parker. We're kind of a blend of, say, Fab.com and some Cause. Every week we partner with a new charity, and we have this curated collection of products on our website, anything from shirts and hats and bags and things for your kids and prints and dog leashes, whatever. And we give $7 for every item sold to that charity. So we've actually raised $2.6 million in $7 donations over the last 2 years. So if we sell 1,000 products, we give the charity $7,000. And we really just kind of started this company with a mission of people matter. We wanted to lead a generation toward generosity. We're 50 employees now, and we've been growing extremely fast.
Wow. Okay. This is obviously a pretty robust company that you have. And I typically, when I hear cause-based stuff, I typically think weak business. That's what I typically think. Because the Tom's model has only worked for a small number of people, right? Everybody wants to say Tom's. It works, it scales. You know, that's like taking this little outlier. Typically, when I see entrepreneurs who are doing this double bottom line cause-based stuff, they're weak. Their product is weak. Their concept is weak. I think the exact opposite of yours. This is a great execution. Look how beautiful this is. You have a weekly goal, you have shares, you have pins, gorgeous photography. And I could see people, because you know what, this doesn't feel like begging. This doesn't feel like I'm being lectured to. It's the quality of the merchandise feels like I would really want to wear that T-shirt. It reminds me very much of Amnesty International, where, you know, I had one of my first jobs where they the quality of their message and the quality of the merchandise and the stuff they did, like the human rights tours with Sting and other folks, it was so in line and it was so well produced that you wanted to be involved in it because you actually believed in the cause, but you also liked the merchandise. This is really well executed. What's your background?
This is my 6th company. So I've started quite a few startups, gone through, been fired from my own company to selling other companies. And we're actually right about to go into, we're backed by about 15 different angel investors in the Silicon Valley area. It's been hard to find good impact firms, impact investing firms. So we're open to those conversations and looking to raise another round. We've only raised $1 million, so we've been pretty dang profitable on our own. And so we're looking for the next growth for 2014.
And so who's your competition really in this sort of regard? Do you have a competitor?
Gosh, we don't have a competitor right now. To be honest, I'm as bold as this might sound, I'm kind of ready for one for the sake of turning a market. I think that we're on the verge of the social good industry as we shift towards good. And I think that it's really just post-2008 recession, you got this kind of on the lips of consumers, you have this distrust. And I think social good companies are coming out there and regaining trust back in people, that conscious capitalism exists and we're in it for the good reasons and it's people over profit. And so I think that's what we're doing. Not really sure, exactly where the competitor is going to come from. But we definitely can see major acquisition targets in the future as good comes down the line.
So it's sort of like, I feel like this is part Kickstarter and part Cafe Press. Who makes the designs for the shirt? So when I see this Congo relief, and I was just at the Congo poker tournament this Saturday with Ben Affleck and this big Congo movement. Who is the designer of all these shirts and who makes the merchandise? Because it looks like it's done at a very high level.
Yeah, so anything that's done for our Sevenly branded products is done in-house and it's all hand-drawn. Design is one of our core values, so everything we do is beautiful. I mean, we spend money on creatives because they're expensive. And we, in terms of other products, we carry other brands. So we're rolling out brands every single day. So we're kind of like just like Fab, so very similar to Fab. You hit it on the money when you said Kickstarter. I think it's a blend between Fab, Kickstarter, and Cause. And it hasn't been done before. I'm calling it Cause Commerce Crowdfunding. And so it's been, we're the only ones doing it at this point. And so we're carrying, right now we have about 250 products. We're adding about a product or two per day. And we're hoping about this time next year to have around 1,000 products on the site.
Why don't you have Fab as a partner or somebody major like that as a partner? I mean, if these designs are so good, couldn't you get these on Zappos and do a partnership with Zappos or Fab? I mean, Jason Goldberg and Tony Hsieh would go crazy for something like this. How come you're not selling 10,000 shirts on Zappos?
I think that we want to keep it in-house and have a lot of control, but at the same point, I'm interested in some business development with that. We've only been around for 2 years, so we're super developed. We're at this very early stage of trying to figure out who we are. I think I'd be open to that idea, but I don't know yet. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you have to start thinking about. Like, it's one thing to sell 2,000 shirts, another thing to sell 200,000, right? And so I would say my one piece of advice here is dare to be great. Let's find a big, huge, transformative partnership for you because your execution is dynamite. I mean, this is fabulous execution. It's clear that this is, top 5% of startup execution. Beautiful site, very well conceived, easy to understand what you're doing. But selling 2,000 T-shirts, it's $14,000. How about we sell 200,000 and we make $1.4 million? I mean, you should be doing.
We're breaking up into the 10 million spot this year. I mean, but you're right. I'm willing to have that conversation for sure because I've never thought of it up until now to have an external partnership that sells our product because we're actually becoming the hub. We're kind of the Urban Outfitters, carrying all the other brands.
Yeah.
Because we become a social good plugin for brands that don't have a social good model. I mean, so. That's like, so say Obey or Stussy wants to sell on our website. They don't have a social good model, but they care. So it offers them an ability to sell their stuff on our website and give to a cause that they care about.
All right, here, listen, let me talk to my audience for a second, if I may. Audience, somebody who's got a business development background and has made a bunch of money working and selling their soul at Facebook or some place like that. It's time to redeem yourself. go work for Sevenly and get a big, juicy partnership for them with Facebook or Yahoo or Microsoft, somebody who's got 1 million people coming to their, or more, people coming to their homepage every day, and do some goddamn good in the world. This should be like, I could see a brand like, let's say Business Insider or BuzzFeed, right? If you got a business development person from one of those two places and you said, when you go out and you sell Xbox on doing this dorky listicle on BuzzFeed or this, inane, gawker, post content advertorial, instead of doing that, let's sell 100 T-shirts, or let's have 20 different design T-shirts that are gorgeous for some cause that matters, and make that part of the campaign. And then they drive the traffic to you to buy the T-shirt. You give them a widget or whatever. But man, you should be selling 1 million T-shirts a month or something. This could get huge if there was a proper business development in person, and you're ready for it right now. And I think you have to let go of this "I'm the destination" thing, because you know what? You're never going to be of the scale of the biggest people. I mean, BuzzFeed has 85 million uniques. The only way you're going to get that is by doing a bunch of stupid listicles about Miley Cyrus's twerking. You're not interested in doing that, right?
No, but yeah, I'm open to the feedback. So anybody that's out there wants to email me at dale@sevenly.org that has some concepts or connections to bridge that gap. We are working on a partnership with Facebook and some other things that are coming out. So I'm excited to have that conversation.
Is this a business or a nonprofit? Is it? How do you have this corporation? Is it a corporation?
It's a for-profit. Yeah, for-profit C Corp.
And if you're giving $7 to each for each sale, if a T-shirt costs, what are the T-shirts average?
T-shirts are only like maybe 15 to 20% of our product offering.
Okay, what's the most popular?
Tons of different stuff. I mean, shirts are probably the most popular, but yeah. I mean, our product offering is made up of a lot more. But we're averaging about a 64% profit margin or a gross margin, blended margin there. So. I don't know if that's where you're going for to see.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about how awesome this is. But listen, this is a great idea. You got incredible potential. You know that already, obviously. And I would go big, man. Just go big. Find who's got get on Quantcast and look at the top 25 people. Like, where is the Reddit campaign, right? Like Reddit plus this, BuzzFeed plus this, Yahoo, AOL plus this, and whatever cause their CEO or management team cares about, Business Insider, whatever. You do one of those, and let me tell you something. People like Business Insider and BuzzFeed, they got a lot to. In terms of reputation, they could use a little reputation boost. There's no offense to the founders over those companies. I mean, they're great companies. Yeah. But people tend to look at those startups as like junk food in the ecosystem. They would do well to add a little bit of this cause, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's really just at this point probably a relational capital. But so Jason, I think you volunteered yourself to make a connection there for me.
I'll make any connection you want. That's pretty simple for me to do. Hey, listen, Dale Partridge, this is brilliant. I love what you're doing. You're invited to come to the Launch Mobile and Wearables event. That's a $5,000 ticket as my guest if you can make it to San Francisco. You based in San Fran, or where are you based?
Orange County, but I'm in San Francisco, once a month.
So I'll meet you September 30th, October 1st at the Launch Mobile and Wearables event. You're my guest. Thanks for coming on the program. Awesome product. Everybody check out sevenly.com.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cheers, Dale. All right, I love that. Who's next? Give me the next one. I can't. How do I say anything? In terms of advice, that's an easy one because the CEO has executed so brilliantly, and the concept's very solid. I mean, it's almost too good for a Shark Tank. Hey, let's get our next person on. Hassan, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, Hassan, how are you?
Hi.
Hassan.
Thanks. Hey, Dale, that was awesome. Great job, man.
Okay, so you're the CEO of Thrillseeker. You know the rules. Yeah. You have exactly 60 seconds to pitch me on your idea. 3, 2, go.
Awesome. So Thrillseeker is a global adventure platform that brings together all the world's adventures together in one place. So it helps adventure travelers discover new adventures and get recommendations from their friends about them, and connect with other thrill seekers all over the world. My co-founder Anton and I, we've been to over 60 countries, and we've personally experienced the pain of trying to find adventures wherever you're traveling, especially in third world countries. So that's how we built Thrillseeker. So for the adventure tour companies as well, we're actually helping them reduce their costs, which is usually they pay a lot of commissions. We're helping them reduce their cost savings and commissions by 80 to 90% by joining our monthly subscription model instead of the commission model that's very standard. And then we're providing a platform for them to access and get exposure to their exact target market that they want to access and get exposure to. And for the thrill seekers, the site is completely free to use. So people can get on there. It's integrated with Facebook, so they can actually find out what their friends have been up to, what adventures their friends have done, and get recommendations from them, so they can choose the adventures that are best for them.
Awesome. Okay. So I've seen this idea over the years tons of different times, right? Kajubi was a TechCrunch 50 or a launch conference company. There's tons of people who have aggregated this stuff together. Most of the time you're saying the business model is they take a commission. Other times they charge a monthly fee. And it's a very fragmented, hyper-fragmented space. And in fact, there were some people who were making tools for those companies to manage like almost like an ordering system, a CMS for them to build their website and to take orders and stuff like that. So, I kind of feel like the space still doesn't have a great winner in it. I wonder if this is a big business or a modest business. I'm concerned it's sort of like a modest business. I'm a little concerned about your design. The design is, I would say, a 7 out of 10. It's not top tier design. And I'm worried about like all of the different things you have listed here, almost being overwhelming to people, right? And so what are your thoughts on the design, the fact that this has been tried many times, it's a super fragmented market, and how long have you been doing it? Yeah.
So you've actually said a couple of things that are really important to this business. First of all, the fragmentation of the market. A couple of statistics is that less than 40% of adventure tour companies actually have a website, and less than 15% currently use electronic booking. So what's happened in the past is that companies that have tried to get into this market haven't been able to get online with it because it's so fragmented. But what's happening today is the second thing that you've said, which is that there's companies creating tools for these tour providers now. So software as a service is becoming very affordable for these tour providers, and they're coming on in droves. So we're in this phase now where the market is really getting ready to become electronic and to get systemized in that way. So this is really a perfect time to get into that market and be kind of one of those first-to-market companies for the adventure travel niche, because as you said, no one's really become that top-of-mind brand, and that's what Thrillseeker wants to become.
Yeah, just looking at the space, you can see if you go on AngelList and you look at online reservations, I guess, which is what the category is, Style Seat is for beauty and wellness, and because I looked at that company, they do the CMS side, so they're doing the booking, Open Care, the doctor one, Seat Me, restaurant management, let's see, just tons and tons of these booking systems, chartering boats, yacht.
Exactly. So the beauty of that is that there's so many companies now trying to get into the whole booking system side of things, and they're perfect partners for us. So we partner with these companies that have a lot of operators on board, and then we aggregate those onto our website through those companies. So you write one API, and you've got 3,000 operators on your database. And you go and write another API, and you've got another 1,000 on your database.
What unfair advantage? What unfair advantage do you have over the competitors? Can you identify an unfair advantage you have?
Sure. I think the unfair advantage that we have right now is that we've combined a lot of the learnings of what some of these companies have had. So if you look at, for example, someone who's doing really awesome in the travel space like TripAdvisor, and someone who's doing awesome in the review space like Yelp, they've had problems and they've had great successes. And we've learned a lot from that and combined it to bring together the key features that are in Thrillseeker that make it so something that thrill seekers really want to use. The other thing as well is Meetup. So Meetup helps you meet people all around the world doing the things that you're also interested in. And we have a feature of that where people can search for other thrill seekers based on sport and location and connect with them as well. So we're kind of combining the three key things that really form the real passion of doing these adventure sports, is having that awesome experience and sharing it with people. That's a huge differentiator to bring all of that together into one place and focus it purely on the niche. Some companies that do tours and activities, they do things like, they might do a couple of adventure tours and so on, but they'll also do a culinary tour, or they'll do, you can buy a foot massage or something like that. So we're purely focused on the niche of adventure, and that really differentiates us from the competitors.
I think that is a differentiator to be focused in a vertical. It also capture upside into how big this can get, and that's probably why you see some of those competitors trying to go beyond just tours of museums to cooking tours to adventure tours. So while that does give you an advantage in that you can be more focused on adventure and maybe be a little bit more discerning as to who to list or how to rank people, it does give you a disadvantage in terms of how big it can get. I think my two pieces of advice are, number one, you got to upgrade the design a little bit. And number two, I would look for some very unique way maybe to, and I don't know what it is, but I do think you need to have some sort of breakthrough here, whether it's mobile or maybe, ranking the top 25 things to do in each city. And just Zagat took the high end, right? They became very refined. TripAdvisor went for comprehensiveness. You need to stand for something, and I feel like you don't yet have that. And I wonder if maybe you being the Zagat of ranking the actual experience and the tour guides in the way that Uber ranks drivers or Zagat, gave you a score, 26 for decor, 23 for this, whatever. You could come up with your own rating system where this is value for dollar, this is how professional they run the organization, this is how memorable it is, whatever, some scoring system where you become the authority on this is a great kite surfing, this is a great, cave scuba diving adventure tour, and you actually send people to go and do those tours. But I wish you luck with it. Everybody check out thrillseekeradventures.com. Thanks for coming on the program. Okay. And I think next we have a couple of Ask Jason, so let's plow through those. Who's the first Ask Jason? We ready for the first Ask Jason?
Hi, Jason. So we hear a lot of entrepreneurs constantly saying things like, don't wait, start right now. But at the same time, I also hear a lot of people saying, stay in school, get your education, the business world will still be there when you're done. Right now, I'm currently in grad school trying to get my MBA, and at the same time, I'm starting a new company. And finding time for both of those things is pretty difficult. My background's in tech, so I'm using grad school as a way to fill in those gaps in my business knowledge so that the new company that I create will have the best chance at success. But in your opinion, how important is it to start building immediately? And do you agree or disagree with the line of thinking that taking some time now to get an education will ultimately pay off more down the line?
Okay, this is a great question. I get it all the time. Education, really, there's a couple of different ways to look at this. First is value for dollar. So if you told me you're going to college on a scholarship and it costs you $0, I'd say, great, do it. Very little downside except the time that you're going to spend in school, right? So then you're just saying, is 4 years of my life versus 4 years building startups or working in the field, is it worth it? Well, and then the quality of the school is another variable. So you have the amount of time, you have the cost, and you have what skills you'll have when you get out. And so I look at this, time, 4 years of your life, you're going to graduate school, it's another 2. 6 years of your life, 6 of the prime years of your life are going towards education. From 18 to 24, you're going to be in books, not in code, not in product, right? So if you truly feel like you're an entrepreneur, those 6 years are critical years because you're like a sponge during those years and you have massive energy. From 18 to 26 or 25 years old, from 18 to 30 years old, you could work and sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. I know I did it. As you get older, you get tireder. So giving up those 6 years to go study books and whatever, I kind of just think that's even just based on time, that's a problem. And then when you look at skills, what skills do you get out of going to school? It depends. If you go to a trade school or if you go to a school that is teaching, coding or whatever, and you're going to MIT or Stanford, yeah, there might be some amazing things you're going to learn that'll be applicable. But we all know the skills ratio is the major issue, or the skills for time and dollars, both of those things have a cost, is very low with traditional college today. I'm not a fan of traditional college today. I think it's a ripoff. Let's just take, if you were spending $25,000 all in and 4 years of your life, now you got 4 years and $100,000 that you are now in debt. Or, if mommy and daddy pay for it, you're not, but let's just assume that that's your cost. Yeah, $100K in the hole and 4 years of your life gone, I don't think it's worth it. I would rather you spend $10,000 learning some skills on Treehouse, lynda.com, doing internships, working for $0 per hour at a startup company, whatever it is, going to an accelerator, and really just investing in skills that matter. Now, if colleges were $10,000 a year and they charged you, and you actually learned 2 or 3 definitive skills per year, and you got out 4 years later with a dozen skills, how to wireframe stuff, how to do marketing, just really crisp, how to write for business, really how to present, great leadership skills. If they were really teaching stuff that would actually make you competitive in the global workforce in this next millennium, yes, by all means do it. But they're not. These schools suck. Everybody knows they suck. Everybody knows they're a ripoff. And so, I don't know. The connections you could get at school, unless you're going to Harvard or whatever, you're probably not getting great connections. You're not. When I went to Fordham, it's not like those connections carried me through the industry. And if you go to a couple of conferences and you volunteer at the front desk, you're going to get a ton of connections. So just learning how to network from somebody who's a good networker, that's enough. Or having a great blog. School is generally not worth it today. Colleges suck. They're not teaching you great skills. I don't know how to say this more clearly. It's probably a waste of time, especially if you said to mom and dad, here's 100, and they give you the 100,000. You started 5 projects and you spent 20,000 per project, and then you find some other person who's got $100,000 from their parents, and you put it together and you start 5 projects each, and you have a $40,000 run rate, a $40,000 per project basis. Man, you're going to be way further ahead. If my daughter comes to me in another 14 or so years and says, Dad, hey, the 100 or by that time $400,000, whatever it's going to be, you were going to give me for school. Can I have that to start some companies? I would be like, yes, I prefer that. So the answer to your question is, it probably is a waste of time, school. I know people don't want to hear that. I know there's exceptions to that. But the truth is, the value is not there. You're getting screwed. College is a waste of time. And colleges need to get their act together and start providing more value. It's not the student's fault that colleges suck so badly at connecting where your skill set is with relation to the world. When I hire people, I don't care what college they went to. I don't even know if they went to college. That's why it's at the bottom of the resume. You could rip that off the bottom of the resume and throw it away over the next 10 years. Nobody cares where you went to school. Honestly, they do not. They care what skills you have. If you have no college degree, but you are the biggest kick-ass Ruby developer in the world, you are hired instantly. If you have the greatest degree in the world, but you can't write a single line of code or can't sell your way out of a paper bag, you are not hired, or likely not hired. Next question, please. All right, here's the next question. So this is, what's so special about a co-founder? What's the industry's bias against single founders with or without external development teams? Faster decisions is part of your thinking as to why this would be better and less dilution. Okay, there's a major bias against single founders for one reason. The chances of success are increased when there's more than one founder. Now, why are the chances of success increased when there's more than one founder? Because you have a spare tire, as it were. If one founder loses their mind, can't take the pressure, has a nervous breakdown, or is incompetent, or is a douche, and just F's up the business, then you have a backup. You can fire one founder. Now, that's tough stuff to say, but the truth is when a VC or an angel investor looks at a single founder business, they say, if I lose Jason, we're screwed. Whereas they look at it and say, oh, well, if I lose Larry or Sergey, we got Larry as a backup or Sergey as a backup. VCs, investors, much prefer to see a great collaboration between 2, even 3 co-founders. Yes, it's better on dilution that I own twice as much as a single founder, but the idea is that they may keep each other motivated, and the statistics don't lie. Dual founder companies have just done better overall. And that statistic's been checked over by many people. I don't have those statistics at my fingertips, but I think that's generally why there's a bias. Now, if you've done 3 or 4 companies before, you may not need a co-founder. I don't need a co-founder. I mean, what am I going to sit here with some co-founder and they're going to debate what Inside.com is going to be? That may not be worth it. But there might be a time when I want a co-founder because it's nice to go on vacation and know that there's somebody else at the business who is pushing as hard as you would have pushed. But that's why there's a huge bias. If you have a great track record, then that bias goes away. Nobody thinks Mark Pincus, or Jack, or Ev, people you can refer to by their first name, Zuck. These people don't need a co-founder. They're going to get it done. They're going to have a cult of personality around them, and it's going to draw team members to them. Great entrepreneurs, people are going to be inspired by their ideas. They're going to be inspired by working for them. They're going to want to have that halo effect around them. Now, when you're just starting out, it's good to have 2 people, 3 people, because people say, oh, there's safety in numbers, right? This is going to be a more stable startup. So it's really about stability, I think, and a little critical mass. That's why there is a bias against single founders. Okay, last question from Brad on the TWiST list. Is this a live question or what is it?
Hey, Jason. And
Tate.
hello from Canada. My question is, how do you gain attention for a product launch when you're not from the Valley and you don't have any contacts there? Even if your product is a 9 or a 10, it seems as though no one will take a look at it unless it's been validated by one of their trusted sources or colleagues. So how do you get people to take the time to check you out? How do you stand apart from the noise? Thanks.
Okay. This is a great question. Number 1, move to the Valley. Problem solved, right? So just move to the Valley for 3 months, for 6 months, for 6 weeks, for 12 weeks, for 12 years, whatever it is. Go to the Valley, spend some time there, and just have 50 coffees, as Mark Suster is fond of saying and other people are fond of saying. Spend some time in the Valley. Listen, I don't live in the Valley. I live in Los Angeles. Everybody knows that, but I'm up there twice a month. Sometimes 3 times a month. I spend a decent amount of time up there. I'm around. I have events up there. So, you're present in mind. So moving to the Valley, even if it's for a short period of time, will pay dividends. I guarantee you. Number 2, board of advisors. Now, this is the way to go. If you have a good-looking product, a board of advisors is going to know, hey, that's real. And then you can start stacking your angel list profile with really good-looking and I don't mean good-looking physically, but good-looking optically, track record-wise people. So, for example, I just joined the board of advisors of Not Safe for Work Corporation, which is Paul Carr's brilliant little startup out of Las Vegas. He's not in the Valley. But everybody's talking about him because he's doing innovative stuff in terms of trying to make independent media a funny news source. It's sort of like if The Daily Show wrote the New York Times. Just clever, funny, irreverent but intelligent articles. I really love what he's doing. I love the founder. He asked me to be an advisor. I said, sure, I'll be an advisor. Now I get, whatever it is, a half a basis point, a full point, a 3/4 of a point, typically when I'm an advisor. It's not material to me. It's not going to make or break my career that I have a half point or a point in some startup that could be worth, tens of millions of dollars. It's not going to come up on my radar. And it's probably not going to come up on Kevin Rose's or Chris Sacca's or right down the line, Gary Vaynerchuk's. However, and it's not going to be material to you. However, it's going to be very material for you when you try to get a meeting and you say, hey, I've got Kevin Rose, Chris Sacca, Jason Calacanis, and Gary Vaynerchuk and these people as advisors. And so I always tell people, have a great board of advisors. Now, I only do this like once in a while, and I tend to do it for friends, like Paul Carr is. But you will get some people, and if you can't get Gary Vaynerchuk and Kevin Rose, you can get the next level of person, maybe Andrew Warner, right, who does a wonderful podcast that's similar to this one where he interviews entrepreneurs. Maybe you can get Jason Nazar from DocStock, right? He's not as big as Kevin Rose in terms of profile, but he's a smart cat, right? Or Sean Percival, right? Somebody who's big on social media. They might very much want to be an advisor, and then you start off on second base, maybe not third base, but you start off on first or second base when you're talking to the public or to entrepreneurs. And if you need a tweet, you can always use click-to-tweet.com or something like that to send it to people and say, hey, can I get a tweet for this? Can I get a tweet for that? Can you introduce me to that person? Like, if I take a half point of equity in a startup, I can't not introduce them to people. I'm not going to introduce them to Elon Musk or Mark Cuban probably because that's, those people are hammered with stuff, but I have no problem introducing them to another venture capitalist, another angel investor. So board of advisors, critical. And then 3, start a blog and a social media presence around the topic of your startup. So if inside.com, well, I can't use that because I don't want to tell you what it's about. If let's take a startup like Swell, right? We just had Swell in the program. So if Swell is in the radio business, right? They're essentially in the radio business, the talk radio business. If they started a blog called Talk Radio Today, and their CEO and their management team hosted that program, they talked to podcasters and news people about the future of radio and the future of radio news, and they held a little conference maybe or a dinner at CES or at, a big event in the Valley, during the launch festival, they host a little bird of a feather dinner. That being the person who hosts the event or hosts the dinner like I do for a lot of things, it can really increase your profile. I can tell you this personally. This is one of my playbooks, is be the person buying dinner or hosting the panel discussion or having the blog or having the podcast about the topic, right? You folks are listening to my program about startup companies. I'm an authority on startup companies because I host a podcast called This Week in Startups. If I'm the host of This Week in Startups, that's a pretty good credential. And if I do it for 400 episodes, people know I'm pretty damn serious about it. So much so that in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been able to raise the launch fund and have the launch festival and other things associated with it, and been lucky enough to invest in 40 companies. This was not by accident. This was my strategy. I said I want to be the most influential angel investor. I'm not the most influential angel investor, but you know what? I'm definitely in the top 20. Some might argue the top 10. And I'm playing the long game. But This Week in Startups, the launch festival, the launch fund, these are all my plays to be at the center of the media universe around startups. This is a deliberate strategy on my part. So you take that deliberate strategy. What is the overarching theme of your startup? If it's Swell, it's talk radio. And if it's Yelp, it's food, or restaurants, whatever it is. So in the early or Mouth.com, something I'm an investor in is artisanal food. They were just in the New York Times. So if Mouth.com should be talking about constantly and hosting dinner parties and events around the artisanal food space, right? And be generous in bringing people together, breaking bread with them, no pun intended. So those are my 3 tips for you. Number 1, move to the Valley. Number 2, get a board of advisors. And number 3, create media around the larger topic that you're addressing. Okay, this has been an amazing episode. Let me thank Gina and Brandis for just being complete rocks for me and making the show run flawlessly, except for those earbuds. I'm sorry about the audio on the second Shark Tank. I'm a little bit obsessive. I know. It's okay, Gina, but I told you. I did tell you, producer Gina. I did. That's okay. We'll get it right next time. No earbuds on the program, people. Use a proper headset. Anyway, Swell was a great interview. Everybody check out Swell app on Twitter and swell.am. Thanks, Ram, for coming on. And great job, Sevenly. I really enjoyed that. And Thrillseekeradventures.com and Sevenly.org. Both really great Shark Tanks. Great questions from Brad and Jason and Dirk on the Ask Jason segments. Thank you, my Turnstone. Thank you, Audible. Oh, I love Audible. Follow at TWI Startups. Follow at Jason. And follow at Launch. Those are your Twitter handles to follow. My Turnstone, Audible_COM, at Jason, at TWI Startups, and at Launch. We'll see you next time. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 33 seconds. How's that, Gina? Not bad. See you next time.